So I have this video called "You Don't Have Real 4C Hair, Sis," and it's talking about like what 4C hair looks like, dry, like just the many states of my 4C hair and how it can literally morph depending on, the products that I use, the lighting. I mean, it goes through a lot. And this video and title and all of that, of course, it incites a lot of discussion in the comments. And so there's this one comment that stuck out to me very recently by a person called Odochi Okoro. I don't know if I said that right, but this was the comment. I feel as though a lot of Black men with 4 hair need to watch this video. The embracing of naturally kinky hair. Recently, I came across a video of a Black dude showing, quote, how to get curly hair for Black men, unquote. Yep, he didn't say how to define your curls or curly hair routine. He literally said how to get curly hair. The comment section was full of Black men saying he got good hair and only light skins have good hair and all that mess. Someone even called their hair a Brillo pad. I wasn't aware that Black men suffer with self-image issues and their hair textures, and that kind of made me feel some kind of way. It's worse because they don't want to acknowledge or accept it. Our community needs healing. Anyway, I enjoyed this video a lot. Thanks for sharing, Miss Latoya. Thank you, Odochi, for that wonderful comment. And I feel some kind of way as well. Hey loves, my name is Latoya Ebony. Welcome back to my channel. I do a lot of videos on type 4 natural hair care. And I know the majority of my audience is female. And, this message is for the men, the males, the boys. However, when I say these terms, just know that I know that there is a spectrum, and when I'm speaking from a cisgender, heterosexual person who has taken on this sort of heteronormative, a relationship with the world. And from that point of view, that is how I grew up. And so I'm speaking from that point of view, but I want to be very clear. Me as a human being, I respect and am open to everyone. I'm not a man, so I can't speak from a male's point of view. I can speak from, a female's point of view, growing up the way that I grew up and what I saw. I want to give you all a little context about my upbringing. I grew up with a cosmetologist. She is someone who's licensed and certified to do hair of all types. She's very good at her job. But there was always this talk about hair in our household, naturally. But the talk sometimes was, she would talk about grades of hair. You have a good grade, bad grade, good hair, bad hair. I don't want to bash my mother because, as many of us know, I know the majority of my audience are Black female. We know that this talk is very common growing up, and it stems from a long history of racism, slavery, survival. I mean, there's so much history behind that I'm not going to get into in this video. However, it bleeds over even today and in the households growing up today and the conversations that we have within the Black community. And so this is, how I grew up, viewing my hair versus even my siblings. And I would go to school and, women would talk about hair in many different ways among other women. But when they talked about the men, it was very pointed and very specific. Oh, he got good hair. I want to marry me a X, Y, and Z kind of guy because our babies are going to have good hair. They would talk about, marrying different ethnicities so that they can have mixed children with a certain hair type. Literally basing, such large decisions on what their children would look like. And this is very layered. And I'm not here to judge anyone for that, because there are a myriad of reasons why someone would prefer not only a child with a different hair texture, but a lighter skin tone. I'm not going to get into the history of that. What I want to point this conversation to is our treatment of men in the Black community, in particular Black women, or, you know, people who definitely identify as Black women, and the way that we talk about image, attractiveness, who we would marry, who we'd have sex with. And by the way, I'm married. I'm happily married, by the way, to a wonderful, beautiful brown-skinned man. But what I want to say is that in those relationships that I'd been in, not only were there concerns, like very like side comments about their complexion, there was a kind of obsession with certain hairstyles. Like you always had to be edged up. I mean, very similar to, you know, Black women and like laying their edges, an obsession with waves, a sort of like, just like she says in the comment, a communal acceptance that the light-skinned guys with curly hair was always going to get all the girls. I mean, like, these are things that I heard growing up. As a married woman, I do find it a little difficult to talk about past romantic relationships because I never wanted to be misconstrued as disrespect to my marriage. My husband and I were actually very open about many different conversations when it comes to, you know, social life and, you know, the dynamic between Black men and Black women within the household and outside of the household and things like that. So we're very open. We have a lot of these conversations, and maybe someday I'll bring him on so that we can have one about men. Now that we got that out of the way, I once dated a guy. We went on a series of dates for a few months. He was very dark skinned and he was obsessed with going to the gym. He was like, you know, as a dark skinned brother, I at least got to have my body right. He would say comments like that. I know a man who will not ever take his shirt off, like at the beach, like will never take his shirt off. I know, you know, within like growing up and on the online community, natural hair community, there's like this sort of weird class system with like different hair types and textures. And it is prevalent in the male community. I don't think that there's enough representation in the male community for natural hair care, especially Black male, especially type 4 hair. And I would love to see that change. If there's any males that I know of, I will link in the description box. But really, this is just me opening it up for us to have a conversation about, you know, type 4 men in particular, or just men. Let's just talk about men. And I would love for men to chime in and talk about their experience with their hair. We can keep it at the hair. We can go a little deeper into other things as well. But I definitely want to say that even though I may not have contributed in a direct way, I know by not saying anything, I've contributed. So I'm sorry. I just finished recording the video and I realized I didn't even get into societal discrimination with men in hairstyles, long versus short, having locks, in the workforce and schools, not even be able to walk and get your diploma because you have locks or long hair. I mean, there's so much. It's so deep. It's so deep. Anyway. My goodness, my camera keeps shutting off, so I'm gonna leave it here. Comment down below, let me know your experiences. I would love for the men to say something. I would love for that. And I love y'all. I have other videos or type 4 natural hair care, man or woman, you can watch them. But I'm excited. I'll put those videos here, but I am excited to hear from you. Bye. Love y'all. See y'all in a couple days. And I'll see you down in the comments.